Stop doing these 9 things in public if you want to be respected. Not liked, not tolerated, respected. Because the moment she loses respect for you, it's already over. You could be doing everything right, paying for dates, dressing well, staying loyal, but none of it matters if you're publicly showing weakness. You think she's not watching? She's always watching. Every word, every move, every time you fold to pressure, she remembers it. Not with sympathy, with judgment. And worse, so do the people around you. Comment, "I choose strength" below if you're done losing silently. Number 1, don't show off. Every time you show off, you reveal the fear you try to hide. You walk into a room and start adjusting your shirt, flashing your watch, raising your voice a little more than needed, thinking you're making a statement. But what you're really doing is screaming insecurity in a language the world hears clearly. You buy things not because you need them, but because you think others will value you more for having them. You talk about your wins not because you're proud, but because you're scared of being forgotten. You exaggerate stories, raise your tone, dominate conversations, hoping to be seen, hoping someone will say you matter, but all it shows is that deep down you don't believe you do. And the people you're trying to impress, they see it, she sees it. That fake confidence doesn't land the way you think it does. It's not strength, it's noise. It's desperation wearing designer shoes. Real strength doesn't talk about itself. It doesn't flash, it doesn't beg, it doesn't enter a room looking for eyes. It moves through the world with peace because it doesn't need proof. The man who has nothing to prove is the one everyone quietly respects. The one who doesn't overshare, doesn't list his wins, doesn't correct every wrong impression. You think if you don't say anything, people won't see your value. That's a lie. People see more when you say less. When you stop performing and start living with discipline, you become undeniable. The world respects the person who's too focused to promote themselves. If you're the loudest, you're not the most confident, you're the most insecure. And if you're constantly proving, you're constantly in debt to opinions. Free yourself from the trap of validation. Not by walking away from the world, but by walking into it, no longer needing to be admired. Build something real so you don't need to announce it. Show up and let your peace be louder than your words. Stop advertising your value and start becoming it. The richest men don't wear it. The wisest people don't yell it. And the most respected men, they never ask for it. So if you're still trying to prove yourself to people who don't even care, that's the real poverty. You're making people your mirror. You're measuring your worth by their reactions. And the most painful part? It doesn't even work. Because the ones who notice will envy you, not support you. And the ones who matter, they're already watching how you treat the invisible things. Time, focus, effort, patience, discipline. That's what lasts. You want her to respect you? Put your energy into becoming who you say you are, not proving it. Let her watch the results. Let the world stay confused about how you're doing it. You don't owe anyone a display. You owe yourself peace. And that peace comes the moment you stop selling an image and start becoming a force. Show off and be seen temporarily, or stay grounded and become unforgettable. That's the trade. Choose wisely. And if that last sentence hit you deeper than you expected, then you already know you're ready to change. That's exactly why I want to tell you about something that could shift your entire direction. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint isn't just a book. It's a guide built on timeless Stoic principles that help you take back control of your presence, rebuild your self-respect, and lead in relationships. It's now available as an audiobook, so you can walk, jog, train, or sit in stillness while life-changing insight sinks deep into your thinking. And once it's yours forever. No subscriptions, just access to the clarity you've been looking for whenever you need to return to it. Ask yourself, how much longer will you keep handing your worth to the world? How many moments will you keep reliving because you didn't know what to do? You don't need to figure this out alone anymore. The audiobook link is pinned in the comments. Number 2, don't talk too much. You talk too much because you're uncomfortable with being misunderstood. You explain every move, defend every decision, narrate every story as if silence will kill you, as if a gap in the conversation means failure. But the truth is, the more you talk, the more you reveal things that weaken your position. You think she wants to hear your thoughts spilling endlessly. She doesn't. She wants to feel your energy, observe your control, sense your grounding, and none of that comes from filling the air with noise. Most people don't talk to connect, they talk to be seen. But the more you try to be seen, the more invisible you become. Because value is quiet. Power is not proven by how much you say, but how little you need to. In every conversation, the person who talks the most often has the least impact. The one who listens, thinks, and waits before speaking holds the power, not because they're mysterious, but because they respect the weight of their words. You talk too much because you're afraid of being forgotten in silence. But silence is where presence is born. It's where respect is built. When you talk too much, you dilute the value of what you're saying. She stops listening. People tune out. And worst of all, you start losing yourself in your own noise. Have you ever said something and immediately regretted it? That's because you didn't need to speak. You just couldn't handle the space. You filled it to avoid discomfort. That discomfort was your training ground, but you skipped it for relief. Talking without purpose is like spending money you don't have. It feels good for a second, then leaves you exposed. Control your words and you control the room. And it's not about being cold or distant. It's about being deliberate. It's about using your words to build, not to escape. She should never know exactly what you think all the time. That doesn't make you mysterious. It makes you real. Because a man who's constantly talking is constantly adjusting. He wants to be liked. He wants approval. But a man who can sit in silence, listen fully, speak calmly, and only when needed, he's unshakable. That's who people want to follow. That's who she feels safe around. Not because he's trying to be impressive, but because he already knows who he is. So if you're always talking, always needing to be heard, ask yourself, what are you trying to prove? And to who? Because the one who knows his worth doesn't shout. He shows it in how little he needs to explain. And when he speaks, people lean in, not because of volume, but because of depth. You don't need to be loud to be strong. You need to be centered. And every time you resist the urge to speak, you train yourself to choose purpose over pressure. Stop giving away your peace in return for being heard. You're not here to perform. You're here to move with intent. Let your silence speak. Let your actions clarify. Let your presence replace explanation. And if you ever feel like you're being misunderstood, let it happen. The right people will feel you anyway. Everyone else, let them guess. Because when you talk too much, they don't understand you better. They just stop respecting you. Speak less, mean more. That's the real power. Number 3, don't touch her constantly. When you're always touching her in public, it may look innocent to you, but underneath it's a signal, not of connection, but of insecurity, of needing to hold on physically because you feel you're losing her emotionally, of trying to stake a claim in a place where you don't believe you have the power to own space with presence alone. And the truth is, the more you reach out to grab her hand, pull her closer, brush her hair, or wrap your arm around her shoulder every 5 seconds, the more she begins to feel that you don't trust her attention, you don't trust her loyalty, and worse, you don't trust yourself. And it begins to wear her down slowly, because while you think you're showing love, she feels you're showing fear. And fear is not attractive, it's exhausting, because real connection doesn't need to cling. It doesn't need constant physical reassurances to feel safe. It simply exists in the way you sit comfortably next to her without reaching, in the way you hold eye contact without needing her hand to validate the moment, in the way you walk side by side as equals, not like someone who constantly needs proof that she's still interested. And the saddest part is, you don't even notice when she starts to pull back, when she shifts slightly away every time you reach out, when her laugh becomes shorter, her body becomes tenser, not because she doesn't like you, but because she feels like she's being smothered by your fear disguised as affection. And this isn't about avoiding touch or being cold. It's about understanding that real strength is calm, that intimacy deepens not when you hold tighter, but when you allow space for her to breathe and choose you freely in that space. Because when you stop constantly initiating physical contact in public, something changes. She starts reaching for you more. She becomes curious again. The mystery returns, not because you're playing games, but because you finally stepped back into your own presence and stopped trying to secure hers with every hand gesture. And if she walks ahead without grabbing your hand, let her. If she sits on the opposite side of the booth, let her. Because when you stop trying to control how she responds to you, you begin to show her a different kind of man. One who isn't afraid of a little distance, one who trusts his value whether she's clinging to his arm or standing across the room. And when she feels that strength, that calm self-trust, she feels something that constant touch never gave her. She feels safe, not just in your arms, but in your energy, in your presence, and in your ability to hold space without chasing validation through gestures. And the deeper truth is, the need to touch constantly comes from a place of fear. Fear that if you're not physically present, you're emotionally forgotten. But that's only true if your entire value is based on proximity, and your job isn't to stay close. Your job is to be felt, even when you're far, to be remembered in silence, not just in touch. To be so secure in who you are that her connection to you deepens, not because you hold her tighter, but because you release the need to be held. And that, right there, is where real power lives. Because no one wants to be suffocated into love. They want to be inspired into it. And that inspiration begins when your calm becomes the strongest force in the room. Stronger than your hand, stronger than your hug, stronger than your need to be approved of. Because she won't remember the moment you touched her shoulder 5 times in one night, but she'll remember the night you didn't need to, and she felt more connected to you than ever. Number 4, don't agree with everything. When you agree with everything she says, nod at every opinion, echo every sentence like you're afraid of conflict, you don't come across as supportive. You come across as scared, unsure of yourself, unwilling to take a stance unless you're sure it won't make waves. And it slowly kills every bit of respect she had for you, because nobody trusts a person who always says yes. Nobody leans on someone who never pushes back. And even though in your mind you're being polite, being kind, keeping the peace, what she's really seeing is someone who lacks spine, who won't stand for anything if it risks making her slightly uncomfortable. And what happens next is brutal but true. She stops seeing you as a partner and starts seeing you as a follower, a background character in your own relationship, someone who blends into her mood instead of influencing it, someone who adapts to her emotions instead of holding his own. And over time, her attraction fades. Not because you weren't nice enough, but because you were too nice to be real, too agreeable to be respected, too scared to challenge her when she needed it most. Because people don't grow through agreement, they grow through tension, through resistance, through honest feedback. And if you can't offer that, if you always default to, "You're right," just to avoid being seen as difficult, you're not in a relationship, you're in a performance, and it's exhausting for her and for you. Because deep down you know when you're lying to yourself, when you're shrinking to keep her close. And eventually you start resenting her for the cage you built for yourself. And she starts resenting you for never showing up with any edge, any structure, any authority. And you wonder why she pulls away, why she tests you, why she picks fights over small things. But the truth is, she's trying to see if there's anything solid behind your smile, anything real beyond the constant agreement, because real relationships need boundaries, and boundaries don't come from yes, they come from no, from I disagree, from that doesn't work for me, said with calm strength. Not anger, not insecurity, just clear self-respect. And when you start doing that, when you start telling the truth even when it's uncomfortable, you'll notice something shift. She starts leaning in more, starts respecting you more, starts trusting that you won't just fold every time she's upset. And that's the foundation for real intimacy, not surface-level harmony, but deep, solid connection built on the knowing that you can handle her truth and she can handle yours. And if you're scared, she'll leave when you disagree. Ask yourself, do you want to keep someone who only stays when you lie? Or do you want someone who stays because you're real? Someone who chooses you because you challenge them, because you bring something deeper than comfort. You bring structure, you bring values, you bring perspective, and you hold those things with integrity no matter who's standing across from you, because that's the kind of energy that earns respect, not just in relationships, but in life, the kind that leads not with volume but with conviction. And if you've never been that kind of person before, start small. Say no when you mean it. Express an honest opinion without checking her face for approval. Let her sit with disagreement without rushing to fix it, and you'll feel something new rise inside you. Self-trust. The kind of trust that no amount of agreement ever gave you. The kind of trust that changes how people treat you, because it changes how you treat yourself. Because when you finally stop bending just to keep the mood light, you'll start walking straighter, thinking clearer, breathing deeper, because you're no longer pretending to be agreeable. You're finally becoming someone worth agreeing with. Number 5, don't complain or whine. Complaining does not make you look relatable, it makes you look defeated. And the moment you open your mouth in public to dump your frustrations about life, people don't see honesty, they see weakness. They hear the voice of someone who's given up on solving problems and has chosen instead to broadcast their helplessness, hoping for sympathy. But sympathy is not respect. And what makes it worse is that most people think venting out loud makes them stronger because it shows they're open. But what it really does is expose a lack of discipline. Because when you speak about your problems like they define you, you forget that people remember the energy you give them, not the words you said. And the man who walks around bitter at the world, angry at traffic, annoyed with his job, tired of his relationship, always talking about how unfair things are, that man becomes emotionally heavy, exhausting to be around, and people stop listening. Not because they don't care, but because they know he's not going to do anything to change it. And deep down, so does he. And when a woman sees that, when she sees a man who constantly leaks his frustrations into the air instead of managing them, who uses conversation not to lead but to dump, she slowly detaches, because if you cannot lead yourself emotionally, she won't believe you can lead her through anything real. And it doesn't matter how much you provide, how loyal you are, how nice you act. If your energy is heavy, if you make your problems the center of every interaction, she feels drained, not loved. And it doesn't end with her, because others around you, the people you want to influence, opportunities you want to attract, they quietly withdraw too, because leadership isn't just about managing others, it's about managing yourself. And managing yourself means learning the difference between honesty and helplessness, between vulnerability and irresponsibility, because real strength is when you feel the urge to complain and you channel it into action, when you feel frustration rise and you process it with focus instead of spreading it to everyone like a sickness. And that starts by asking yourself, why do I keep speaking problems I haven't even tried to solve? Why do I share struggles with people who can't help me? Why do I think being heard matters more than becoming someone who doesn't need to be pitied? And the answer often lies in habit, in the years you've spent looking for comfort instead of building capacity, in the way you learned to seek connection by being broken instead of being powerful. But you can end it right now by becoming someone who handles adversity with grace, who faces problems like puzzles, not punishments, who moves with quiet control, who only shares when there's purpose, who vents rarely, and when he does, it's strategic, not emotional. And in public, that man earns a reputation, not as cold or distant, but as steady, reliable, grounded, because even when things go wrong, he doesn't unravel, he adapts, and people trust that. They feel it and they follow it, because while others are yelling at the world for what it's doing to them, he's building a life so strong it doesn't need defending. And the irony is, the less you complain, the more support you attract, because people don't respect your pain, they respect your ability to carry it. So stop bleeding on people who didn't cut you. Stop hoping for comfort from people who only feel better when you're worse, and start owning your space by controlling your speech. Train your mind to see solutions, not setbacks. Keep your energy clean, your words tight, your circle intentional, and remember that suffering doesn't make you powerful. What you do with it does. Number 6. Don't check other women. Looking at other women when you're with her is not about biology. It's about boundaries. It's about impulse control. It's about the message you send with your eyes and the statement you make with your attention. Because when you shift your gaze every time someone walks by, when your head turns for curves while you're supposed to be locked in on the person beside you, what you're really doing is broadcasting your lack of discipline. You're saying to the world, and more importantly to her, that her presence isn't enough, that your loyalty is only active when temptation is invisible, that you can't be trusted when options are available, and while some men will defend it as natural, as harmless, the truth is you wouldn't be okay if she did the same. You wouldn't enjoy watching her eyes scan other men while she's in your company, because you'd feel it, that sharp gut pull of being disrespected. And that's exactly what she feels. Every time you let your hunger override your honor, every time your eyes go, places your commitment says they shouldn't. And it's not just about the moment, it's about the seed it plants. Because now she has to wonder what you're doing when she's not around. She has to guess whether your words match your character. And when doubt starts, respect decays. And where respect dies, connection cannot live. And worse than that, you start sabotaging your own self-worth. Because when your self-control is so weak that even your eyes betray you, you're living like a child trapped in a man's body, ruled by reflex instead of reason. And that's not power, that's exposure, because you've made your decisions easy to read, and that makes you predictable. And predictable men do not lead. They follow, they react, they chase. And what's wild is that the strongest men in any room are not the ones staring. They're the ones who don't need to, the ones who walk with intentions so deep that distractions don't derail them. And when a beautiful woman walks past, they notice without shifting, they observe without craving. And that stillness is rare. It's felt, and it's powerful, because it tells the room, including the woman beside you, that you're governed by principle, not impulse, that you value presence more than possibility, that you know how to honor the space you're in. And when she sees that, she doesn't just feel chosen, she feels secure. Because the trust isn't coming from your words, it's coming from how you move. And if you've never lived that way, if you've trained your mind to look before you even realize it, then you need to retrain it. Not by shaming yourself, but by elevating your standard. By realizing that not every attractive person deserves your gaze, not every opportunity needs to be acknowledged, that being faithful isn't just about not cheating, it's about staying fully present, even when you could drift. And when you start living that way, something deep inside you changes. Your energy tightens, your discipline sharpens, your woman respects you more. Your friends notice your focus, You stop giving away your attention like it's worthless, and you start using it like it's a weapon, like it builds or breaks your legacy, and in time, your character starts to match your ambition, because a man who can't control his eyes can't control his future, and a man who can't control his future loses everything trying to hold on to temporary pleasures that give him nothing but regret. Number 7. Don't seek her validation. When you seek her validation, you put her in a position she doesn't want or respect to be in, because the moment your eyes flicker toward her after every joke you tell, the moment you pause to read her reaction before finishing your sentence, the moment you adjust your energy based on her facial expression, you're not in a relationship anymore. You're in an audition. And the problem with auditions is that the one doing the judging holds the power. And no matter how much she says she wants a supportive partner, no matter how many times you've been told that vulnerability is attractive, when you make her your emotional anchor, instead of standing rooted in your own presence, you show her that your confidence depends on her mood, your peace depends on her approval, your happiness depends on her response, and even if she doesn't say anything at first, she starts losing respect because deep down she knows this. If your value fluctuates based on her opinion, it's not value, it's performance. And performances are entertaining but forgettable, and they don't build trust, because trust comes from consistency, from knowing you won't be shaken by a look, from knowing that whether she's praising you or pushing back, you remain grounded. And most men don't realize that their craving for validation leaks out constantly, not just in words but in posture, in eye contact, in tone, in the way they scan her face for signs of approval, like a desperate salesman begging for a yes. But what they don't see is that every time they do it, they hand over their power, and not just to her, but to everyone around them, because people can feel when you're seeking permission to exist, when you're not standing firm in your choices, but waiting for someone to tell you they're okay, and it's draining, it's unattractive, and worst of all, it creates resentment, because the very person you want closeness from starts distancing themselves, not because they hate you, but because they can't breathe under the weight of being your emotional oxygen. And the solution isn't to go cold or distant. It's to train your mind to find approval internally before you ever look for it externally, to become so rooted in what you believe, what you know, what you are building, that no reaction shakes it, no silence derails it, and no disappointment breaks it, because the man who stops seeking validation becomes rare, and rare becomes powerful, and powerful becomes respected, and respected becomes desired. Not because he's trying to be desired, but because his energy speaks of peace, his decisions speak of self-trust, and his presence speaks louder than any compliment ever could. And when you stop needing her to tell you you're enough, you start becoming someone who is, not in her words but in your walk, not in her smile but in your solitude, and that is where all your answers live. Number 8. Don't get jealous. Jealousy is not a sign of love, it's a sign of weakness. It tells everyone around you that you don't believe you're enough to keep what you have, and it tells her that your sense of worth isn't built on who you are, but on whether or not she's giving you attention in that moment. And it plays out in the smallest, most destructive ways. The way your energy shifts when she talks to another man, the way your tone gets sharp when she laughs too hard at someone else's joke, the way you pretend not to care, but your whole body tenses when she gets a compliment. And all of that doesn't make her feel protected. It makes her feel imprisoned, like she's walking through a field of emotional landmines where any spark of independence could set you off. And that's not love. That's control masked as care, insecurity masked as loyalty. And if she starts pulling away after these moments, it's not because she wants to hurt you. It's because your reactions make her feel smaller, suffocated and watched, not seen. And you might think that getting jealous shows you care, but it doesn't. It shows you fear. Fear that you're not enough. Fear that someone else could take her. Fear that you're temporary and easily replaceable, and the brutal truth is, if she's going to leave, she doesn't need an audience to do it, and if she wants to stay, no amount of jealousy is going to make her love you more. It's only going to make her respect you less. And if you want to reverse that, you need to stop trying to control outcomes and start controlling your emotions. You need to become the man who observes without reacting, who notices without spiraling, who recognizes that your value doesn't increase or decrease based on who else is in the room. Because when your value is internal, nothing external can move you. And when she sees that you don't flinch under pressure, that you don't change when tested, she doesn't see coldness. She sees leadership, she sees clarity, she sees trust. And most men never reach that place because they think their reaction is proof of how much they care. But the truth is, how you react under pressure is proof of how much you've grown, how much control you have, and whether or not you're worthy of leading not just her but your own life. And the goal isn't to become indifferent, it's to become immovable, not because you don't care, but because you don't depend. And that shift in energy makes everything different, because now she's not walking on eggshells around your emotions, she's walking with admiration for how solid you are in yours. Number 9, don't disrespect others. Disrespecting others isn't about them, it's about you. It's a loud announcement of your inner instability, a display of your inability to stay composed when your ego isn't being stroked, and it comes out subtly. The waiter who takes too long, the cashier who makes a mistake, the stranger who bumps into you. And instead of responding with calm, you use it as an opportunity to assert dominance, to remind the world that you're someone. But what you don't realize is that every time you do that, you tell the people watching, especially her, that your strength is an illusion, because real strength doesn't need to assert itself at the expense of others. It doesn't need to talk down to prove value. It doesn't need to step on someone else's neck to feel taller. It holds firm. It gives space. It chooses character even when no one is watching. And when you disrespect people who can't fight back, what you're really saying is that your self-worth is circumstantial, that your respect for others is based on what they can do for you, and that makes you unpredictable, unsafe, and deeply untrustworthy. And women pick up on that faster than you think, because the way you treat others, especially those beneath you in power or position, is the way she knows you'll treat her once she's no longer making you feel good, and that is terrifying for anyone looking for long-term connection. And you might think respect is earned, but the truth is, the kind of respect that reflects your character is given without demand, without agenda. It's the quiet way you hold doors, the calm way you explain things without condescension, the presence you bring when someone makes a mistake and you don't need to shame them for it. And that doesn't make you soft, it makes you stable. Because real control isn't shown in moments where you get your way, it's shown in moments when you don't. And if you can't handle being slighted without exploding, if you can't be inconvenienced without lashing out, if you can't be challenged without belittling, you're not powerful. You're a liability, and no one wants to be around that long term, especially not a woman looking for someone she can trust, someone who won't collapse under emotion or use his mood as a weapon. And the path to changing. This isn't about pretending to be calm. It's about becoming someone who actually is, who understands that not every disrespect deserves a reaction, not every mistake deserves punishment, and not every moment is about showing who's in charge. Sometimes the real power is in showing up with enough control to let people feel safe around you, even when they're wrong, even when they're slow, even when they're frustrating. Because that kind of presence changes rooms, builds reputations, and earns a depth of respect that loudness never could. If you've made it this far, something inside you knows the truth. You've been giving your power away for years, and society is perfectly fine with that. They don't want you to be unshakable. They want you docile, distracted, agreeable, easy to control. But the moment you choose truth over comfort, the game changes forever. That's why the Stoic Relationship Blueprint exists. It's not just a book, it's a weapon, built on timeless Stoic principles designed to help men reclaim their presence, lead with clarity, and stop performing for love. And now it's available in audiobook form, so you can absorb this life-changing knowledge while walking, training, or just reclaiming your mind. Once you own it, it's yours forever. No one can take this from you. So if you're ready to stop living confused and start leading with strength, comment, "I choose truth," like this video, and subscribe to help more men find what most never will. The link's pinned in the comments. Every day you don't have this knowledge, you're giving the world control over your life.